Our next guest says Princess Diana would still be alive if he'd been on duty the night she died. Lee Sansum was Diana's bodyguard, and she trusted him with some of her biggest secrets.
In a series of stunning claims, Lee says Diana was planning to leave her sons and escape to America to avoid the UK media. The revelations are from his new book, The Bodyguard. The world has never seen a royal quite like her. It's been 25 years since Diana's life came to a tragic end.
It appears to be official. Princess Diana, at the age of 36, has died of massive internal injuries.
Now her former security guard is speaking out about the time he spent with the People's Princess. Lee Sansum, who Diana nicknamed Rambo, believes she'd be alive now if he was with her that night. No one in the car was wearing seatbelts, something Lee says he always insisted on. Lee formed a close bond with Diana during a summer holiday in the south of France in 1997. He was assigned to the princess and her then boyfriend Dodi Fayed, and claims Diana used to wake up at 7 each morning and confide in him. One of her biggest fears was that she would be assassinated one day like her good friend Gianni Versace. Lee also claims Harry's move to the US with Meghan in 2020 echoed a decision Diana was close to making before she died, with the princess hoping she'd find a safe haven away from the British tabloids.
And Lee Sampson joins us now. Good morning to you. Look, it's got to be heartbreaking to think Diana could be alive today. You say you could have saved her life if you were there. How?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that. It was an interview I had with one of the tabloids, and I didn't exactly say that, but what I did say was that one of my big things is putting seatbelts on people. And Mr. Fayed, who I used to work for, of course, he had a big policy that everybody would wear seatbelts. And I drove Dodi before, and he hated wearing seatbelts. He spent a lot of time in the States, so I guess, that could account for that. But when I first drove Dodi Fayed, I was sat in the car and he wouldn't put his seatbelt on. I said, look, sir, you've got to put your seatbelt on. He said, no, I don't wear seatbelts. I said, well, I'm not driving the car. And he said, you drive the car now. And I said, well, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call your father and you're going to explain it to him. And he said, right, OK, I'll put my seatbelt on. So every time I drove him, he would put his seatbelt on, right? And even in some of in my book, places I've worked in Libya and Somalia, in the war zones, my big thing is about being seated up. We lose more people on bodyguard operations through traffic accidents, would you believe? Yeah. And we lost a full team in Somalia with 4 guys killed in a vehicle that rolled. No seatbelts on.
And you would have made her wear it. You don't believe she was murdered, but you do say intelligence services that were following her may have been a factor in the crash. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so this is the thing that, we're talking about, one of the most important people in the world at that time, mother of the heir to the throne. And I just find it incredible that anybody would think that our secret services that we have here, some of the best in the world that keep us safe, would want to know where she was. I mean, imagine if she got compromised. Imagine if she was kidnapped. The repercussions that would have. So, the thought that she wasn't being watched, to me, is just incredible.
It is a real mystery to us all, as you say. But you also say Diana was planning to move to America to avoid the Paps. Yes. Do you think she would have followed through with that escape plan from the UK? And do you think that influenced Harry's move?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we spoke about it, myself and the princess, at great depth, because her sons are very similar age to mine. And, when she was talking to me about moving to the States, she was very emotional about it. And I said to her quite naively, are you going to take the boys? And she said, no, I'm not going to be allowed to do that, but I'm going to come back for holidays and I'm going to come back and see them a lot. So, it's just imagining the state she was in mentally because of all the Paps. It was horrendous what she went through, thinking that the place that she could go for some respite was America. And she told me that, she felt that she was loved there by the people. The press out there liked what she was doing, all the charitable work she did with AIDS and all the mining things she did for demining and banning landmines. And in the UK, she just felt she couldn't do anything right. And this is the woman that people all over the world just loved her, because I think she was just an amazing person, you know.
So what did she say to you about getting out, about moving to America?
Yeah, well, she said, I'm moving to America to get away from all this. And it was the only thing she could do. And she didn't want to. And she was emotional when she was talking to me about it. And a lot of people said she wasn't going to move there. And I could only comment on what she actually told me. But the fired security team, who I worked for at the time, Dodi Al-Fayed lived in the States, in California, and that's where the princess was going. I think it was Julie Andrews' old house that she'd bought. She was going to buy, let's say that. And Mr. Al-Fayed, Mohammed Al-Fayed, the boss, prior to the trip that I went to in Saint-Tropez, looking after the prince and the princes and the princess, he'd asked for volunteers to go out to the States to beef up the security team there, and obviously with the relationship with the princess, and they're going to be in the similar area living, you know, this holiday romance that I saw. I mean, now everybody's got a comment on it and an opinion on it, but at that time it just looked like two people who were start of a relationship. I've never seen Dodi as happy, smiling, and everything was good, you know, at that time.
Well, it could have certainly played a part in Harry. Lee, thank you very much for joining us. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And Lee's book, The Bodyguard, is out on September 13.